And now we get to Nemesis. Well, where do I even start with this absolute catastrophe? His design is pretty cool. He looks super awesome in all of his different forms. And I think the overall concept of him transforming and adapting depending on his environment is pretty neat. However, that's where it ends in terms of praises, because this guy is a total idiot. He has so many opportunities to kill Jill, and he doesn't act upon any of them. Nemesis grabs her, kicks her against a wall, and she just takes it. I mean, Nemesis is supposed to be this extremely powerful weapon, and he's specifically designed to kill former STARS members. But he barely does any significant damage to Jill. She tanks so many hits, it's insane. Her plot armor is very prominent throughout the entire game, and it will only get worse from here. Besides the horrendous plot armor though, Nemesis is also a fucking idiot. Remember, he's a killing machine. He's supposed to be very capable. And what does he do in this first chase sequence? He smashes through the wall, kicks her, lifts her up, smashes her on the ground, and tries to stomp her with his foot. Like, dude, you pretty much had her. You could have just snapped her neck right here. Use your weird tentacles, or hell, he could probably just crush her skull. He legitimately is one of the worst killing machines I've ever seen. He doesn't even try to kill her. This will also get worse as we go along. Although this sequence is pretty bad already. So at the end, Jill manages to escape by running out of the burning building, and some huge stones have fallen between the exit and Nemesis. So of course he can't get through. He also can't go around and take another route or anything. And after Jill exits the building, Nemesis is just silent. It really seems like he just disappeared from the scene. So she starts crawling out of the car, and Nemesis starts approaching the car. And she gets like maybe 2 meters, at maximum 3 meters away from the car, before it explodes. And it throws her to the ground. And then we see Nemesis, and his entire body is lighting up in flames because of the explosion. But he doesn't care, because he has only one goal, and that is to eliminate Jill Valentine. And nothing is going to stop him. But then, he doesn't do anything. Jill is right there. She's weak. She certainly can't run away. If Nemesis truly wanted to kill her, he could have done it right here, no problem. And just like before, he slowly, very slowly walks towards her, and then stands there to look evil and menacing. He's not doing anything. But then on the way back, Nemesis slams through a wall and starts going after her. But only very shortly, because as soon as Jill goes into a building, he stops chasing her. But as soon as she leaves the building, he starts chasing her again. This is another big issue I have with Nemesis. He always just pops out of nowhere super quickly. And as fast as he appears, he also just disappears into thin air when the Nemesis part is over. He seems to just casually pop in and out of existence. His sections feel so incredibly scripted and planned out that I never felt intimidated or scared. Although I will say that he does move very fast, and his attacks in this normal state can be pretty challenging. He charges at you and grabs you and pulls you towards him. But then again, I wish he would really try to kill Jill. Instead, he often just does some attacks, and there are many opportunities for him to just kill Jill right here. But he doesn't, and instead just stands around. It's ridiculous. He'll hit Jill, knock her to the ground, and then he stands there and doesn't finish the job. He just waits for her to get up before he starts chasing her again. And what comes next is just so incredibly stupid. So as soon as Jill reaches the top of the ladder, Nemesis again appears out of nowhere, grabs her by the head, and of course, throws her away from him. Like, dude, why are you so fucking incompetent? And while Jill is looking at him, he slowly aims her flamethrower at her, wherever he got that from, and then he doesn't do anything. He's just waiting for her to get up and run away. And then Jill runs away for 10 seconds gets under a garage door, closes it behind her, and yup, guess what? That's it. She's safe now. What the fuck? Why would this stop Nemesis? He's a fucking super strong Hulk killing machine. This quick 30-second Nemesis sequence sums up almost every issue I have with Nemesis. He's more focused on being intimidating than actually killing his target, and he is stopped by stuff that absolutely should not stop him. And when the player can just tell in certain sections that they are fine and safe, that's a pretty bad sign in my book. So then we work our way up this building and Nemesis again pops up and starts burning everything. And there's another very short sequence where Nemesis is super near Jill and just points his flamethrower at her, waiting for her to start running. Now we switch back to Jill where we left off. Jill gets out of the subway, onto the streets, and then she gets to a bridge. And we see Nemesis very clumsily falling into the river, which I'm not sure why he was freaking out so much. All the times before that, he was just fine with being on flames. But now he's freaking out about it? So yeah, that's something. And Jill walks across the bridge while contacting Carlos. She talks to him for a bit, telling him about the train and stuff. And then Nemesis jumps out of the river onto the bridge. And now he's transformed into some weird kind of giant fish wolf ghoul thing. And then we get a very short chase sequence that maybe lasts like 15 seconds, not even kidding. And the level of plot armor in this short part is so fucking excruciating. First, Jill slams some, I don't even know what the hell this is, like some part of a stone wall onto Nemesis, and they have so much impact that it stops him for a good 2 seconds. I don't know how heavy these things are, but I feel like Nemesis should have just slammed them to the side. And then Nemesis charges at Jill 2 separate times with his gigantic claws, and she some fucking how dodges both of them perfectly. He doesn't even scratch her. If you're watching the YouTube version, you can see just how strange and contrived this looks. And right after that, we get another cutscene in which we see Jill take the vaccine from the machine, and then that weird Nemesis tentacle grabs her by the neck and lifts her up. Jill immediately pulls out her knife and tries cutting the tentacle, but it doesn't seem to work. But then, for some stupid reason, Nemesis just throws her away. He could have easily choked her to death while he had her in his grip, but whatever. Then Jill crossed through a shaft into another room, and there's Nemesis waiting for her and grabbing her by the head. Still not crushing or choking her, but just trying to slowly pull her towards him. And Jill fucking shoots at that gas tank, it explodes, and in the next shot, Nemesis has just completely disappeared. It looks so horrible, but then his tentacle still grabs her leg, and then we get a super great and highly thrilling and engaging QuickTime event, in which we just have to press one button to crawl forward. I'm not kidding. Nemesis doesn't pull any harder or anything. He just holds onto us with his tentacle, Jill slowly crawls forward, and then the second tank explodes, and this makes Nemesis disappear again, of course. What is even happening? When Nemesis jumps at you from these tanks and successfully hits you, you see this short attack animation. What the fuck? This is the most upsetting instance of Jill having insane plot armor and Nemesis being the biggest fucking idiot. She's on the ground and Nemesis is above her, and he bites her many times until grabbing her with his mouth and throwing her to the side. And she stands up after that. Firstly, she should be so dead after that. But also, Nemesis is just a clown. He had the best opportunity to just kill her right there. He even had her entire body between his teeth. Like, just crunch her to pieces. It's so easy. How on earth do you expect me to take Nemesis serious at all? Or even be scared of him? This is insane. There are so many cases in which Nemesis has Jill pinned down and there's no way for her to get away. But then Nemesis either decides to throw her away from himself or to walk slowly towards her, stand there looking cool and evil. And it's even more stupid because of Jill's huge plot armor. Nemesis can barely do anything to her, and she can dodge pretty much all of his attacks, but then you also have Nemesis being completely incompetent. If he at least tried to kill her with everything he had, then the only issue would be her plot armor. But they're both poorly done. Nemesis is essentially the main selling point of this game, but the way he acts and goes about trying to kill Jill is so incredibly incompetent that I never felt any danger. Mr. X was much more of a threat in the Resi 2 remake. And that brings me to another big problem, which is the scripted nature of the Nemesis encounters. Just playing through the game, I always knew when Nemesis was out of the picture. All the sections where you run away from him or fight him are very strongly separated by the rest of the game. This is a problem, because Nemesis is supposed to be this untouchable, cold, calculated killing machine with only one goal in mind: eliminating Jill Valentine. But unlike Mr. X, I never felt any tension or suspense when Nemesis wasn't there, because the game made it so apparent that I was safe in these sections. I also find it hilarious that Nemesis manages to kill multiple random people that aren't even his target at all, but then, whenever he gets an obvious chance to complete his mission, he becomes completely stupid. It's almost like Umbrella messed up his programming. And this is a true bummer, because Nemesis was the only thing I was actually looking forward when playing this game.